Broads Media.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. The Flyers made some news. How about Noah Cates getting a deal? How about Cam York getting a deal? Some bridge deals for your two young ones. And Noah Cates, 2 years, $5.25 million. He had 13 goals, 25 apples last year, 5 game-winning goals. And in a very impressive fashion here, he played all 82. So he was able to stay upright. He was able to have that longevity in a season that grinds you down in a long 82-game run. He didn't get beat down. Playing a two-way game, 200-foot game, trying to defend some of the best forwards on the other team too. Because that's part of the MO. That's part of what we needed him to be, a detailed defensive forward. I'm really excited for what he can become. And, yeah, I mean, look, you see his age, and you think about the RFA years compared to where Cam York is in his career, and his age, and all that, and what does this mean for the cap, and how much is the cap going to rise, and what type of number are you looking at for some of these kids as years progress? It's too much for me to worry about that right now. We are in such an early phase of a rebuild, and Danny Briere has so much on his plate that in a couple years down the road, after a few bridge years, there'll be a time where I wonder, what is Noah Cates worth? There is a time where I wonder, what is the ceiling of Cam York? And that's already started to creep into my head, but not so much the financial side of it. When we get there, it'll be more deserving of my time. Right now, we are in the process of stripping this franchise down to the core and figuring out an identity and a brand. That's what I'm trying to study now, and I think these pieces can be a part of that. I think Noah Cates can continue to grow under John Tortorella. He is a full-on perfect description of what John Tortorella loves about this game. Like, that is it, man. That is fully it. Someone who's committed to the D zone, someone who's committed to playing the right way, someone who's all about doing the little things. There's guys like, I don't know, let's just throw out a name like Patrick Laine, for example, or Pierre-Luc Dubois, who just got a nice payday in L.A. after complaining about his last 2 stops. They won't buy in fully. They won't give that extra mile. They won't go into the corners looking to win a puck battle the same way Noah Cates will. They won't worry about, okay, are my heels facing the blue paint and I have my stick on stick as I'm watching my defenseman in the corner and I have net front. For this particular reason, somehow Noah Cates is stuck net front and he's looking around and he's got his guy and they're playing a bit of man-to-man down low and he's really focused to make sure his heels are properly right facing the blue paint and his head's on a swivel. Pierre-Luc Dubois is probably flying around looking for an outlet pass with his stick up, screaming, yep, trying to get a breakaway and sneak behind the D. Instead, there's a turnover, and then boom, wide open shot in the high slot, glove side, finding Twine, and you're down 1-0, and Pierre-Luc Dubois with a fat -1 next to his name. That's the difference. So I think that he plays the right way. I think Cam York can be a second pairing guy moving forward. Yeah. That sucks saying that. It does. It sucks saying that. I don't think he's terrible. He can make simple passes. He can start a breakout. He can make an outlet pass, tape to tape, and let the forwards transition from there and trying to sneak something in the neutral zone. Let's say he's behind his net, right? He's got his head up. He makes a pass to someone on the half wall. They use the glass, a nice glassing out. You get a nice forecheck going on the defense, the opposing team's D. You put pressure on them, and you make a nice 2-on-1 happen. You go to the net hard. You get a net drive, which opens up the third guy high, and that allows for the Flyers to have a grade A scoring chance. He can do that for sure. Can he log 25, 26, 27 minutes and be a lethal top pairing? No. Not when you turn this around. By default, he might be asked to play a lot, and he might be asked to match up against some of the other team's number one forwards. And I'm fascinated to see what he can do, and I'm intrigued to see how he handles that type of adversity and that type of skill. But my guess is he's not there. And I don't know if he'll ever get there. I just don't know if that's his ceiling. He could be a fine player. Could be a second pair D. That's what I think he truly is labeled as. And with Oliver Bonk, I don't know. I'd be lying if I told you I was able to dive deep into the Oliver Bonk London Knights OHL tape. It feels, though, from what I'm reading, maybe it's the same range. These two were in the same range. Does that make you uncomfortable? Do you think that they're better than I'm giving them credit for? The jury's not out on either of them. And really, Oliver Bonk, there's nothing to go off of. So plenty of time for them to grow, plenty of time for them to get better and add and work on foot speed and work on gap control and all that. I do think I'm higher on Oliver Bonk, but maybe that's just because I'm lower on Cam York than most, I guess. But I don't think he stinks. I think he's a serviceable everyday NHLer. I think there's a role for a second pair D core. That's very important because your third D pairing isn't playing much. So your first is eating up a lot of minutes. Your third D core isn't playing a lot. So what does that mean? Where's the rest go? The second. They need to be out there. Just sucks. Where they drafted York. Did I mention that Cole Caulfield was available? We won't do it. Cam York, 2 years, $3.2 million. Now, Cam York last year played 54 games. He had 2 goals, 18 assists for 20 points. He finished -1. And I wanted to look up where -1 ranked against the rest of the team because they were clearly a absolute dumpster fire. There were some that played a couple of games. Ronnie Attard, a couple of games. Jackson Cates, 5 games. Zamula played 14 games. He was even. So it's hard. But when I saw Nick Seeler, who played 77 games, scored 4 goals, he scored double the amount of Cam York. Holy hell, that's absolutely outrageous. He was +1 on the season. Nick Seeler was +1 on the season last year. Noah Cates was +3 in 82 games with his 38 points. So when I look at -1 originally, I think, that's not that bad, right? I mean, think about all the downtime. Think about all the losing streaks. Think about how many times they would let up 6 goals. They get embarrassed by the Rangers. They get beat in their own barn, and other teams are taking over and basically mocking you, and you become a laughingstock of the entire National Hockey League. That was once the description. That was once the reality. And they really are still in that reality until I see anything change. So, a young defenseman having a -1 next to his name, averaging just under 20 minutes a night. Okay. But Justin Braun in 51 games was -1. Seeler was +1 in 77 games. It's just not as impressive as I guess I thought when I only saw his stats. Is that fair? Rasmus Ristolainen, -4 on the year in 74 games. Travis Sanheim, -5 in 81 games. He played almost every single game this season. He sucks. I got to be honest, he sucks. There was someone in my DMs not too long ago who tried to tell me that Travis Sanheim has a different gear that wasn't untapped yet. I'm sorry. What do you watch? What do you smoke? I think is a better question because I need it. If it's going to help out and give you all sorts of, wacky thoughts, what the hell? Why not? Travis Sanheim stinks. He stinks. He's not worth it. He thinks he's offensive. He's not. Doesn't produce enough at that rate. He gets lost in the D zone, running around. Oh my God, I'm having PTSD just thinking about some of the wide open forwards everywhere. It was nonstop. It was every single night. I pray to the hockey gods that I don't have to deal with it to the same level that we saw last year. It's going to have its rough patches. And if you go in expecting 0, well, then you're just silly. And you're setting yourself up to fail emotionally. It'll be there. I just need it cleaned up. And I don't know. I'm excited for Tyson Foerster. In 8 games last year, 3 goals, 7 points. So almost a point per game in his 16 minutes a night. That wicked wrister, quick release, snaps right off of his blade. Really impressive goals. He's really impressive. Whenever Michkov gets here, I'm going to be impressed. Now, speaking of Michkov, there's a lot of rumors circulating that he's not a good teammate, he's a bad person, and that's why he slipped in the draft. Really, what I'm seeing is teams making excuses and trying to justify why they didn't grab such a lethal talent. And one of his teammates says, "My earliest memories of Matvei are of a young man who never wants to leave the ice and talks to all the guys like he's known them for years. I remember thinking to myself, wow, who is this crazy guy? Quickly, I noticed all of his talent and the love he had for hockey. Sometimes I arrived at the arena for practice, and he was already on the ice practicing, trying things that only he knows the secret. He is extremely competitive. He devotes countless hours to improving his game. He constantly wants to find new ways to stand out. In a few years, thanks to his work, we will be able to say that he is a perfect hockey player. Well, sometimes he is expressive, as he laughs. He's a very good guy. But then there are some nights when, at the start of his stay with us, his emotions took over. During certain games where we lost, he would get up in the locker room and give motivational speeches filled with rage and intensity. I remind you that he was only 18 years old and he was surrounded by veterans. He meant well, but he learned over the year to do it the right way," as he continues to laugh. "Guys come to understand that everything he did was for good of the team and related to his love of the game. And everyone took it, and then he just had a lot of leadership in him. Off the ice, he is very calm and very funny, and we really appreciate him." So that's what one of his teammates, Dimitri, said a month before the draft. Here's what Spittin' Chicklets is running with.
There is some character issues here
Big time.
that have been coming up. Like, have we talked about the fact that apparently he kicked one of his teammates?
Yeah.
Have you guys heard that story, Merles? You're our European correspondent.
No, I haven't heard the kicking part.
Yeah,
so
I
he's
gave
a
up
bit
on
of a
Russia this year because of the political climate, but no, I hadn't heard that one.
So he's a bit of a
Listen to a
loose
word.
cannon.
Listens to nothing, Biz. I guess coaches are telling him stuff. Veterans, fuck off. So there was big time rumblings, and even I was able to kind of read a message from a guy he played with this year that was like, this kid, as much as I'm trying to give him a shot, is a piece of shit. So I've never.
There is.
Come on, man. I mean, I'm just not buying it. I think what happened is the Flyers got someone at 7. The Montreal Canadiens, there was a ton of outrage. There were people upset, crying in the streets because they go draft a defenseman instead of snagging someone who has as high of a ceiling as Michkov. And now people start running their mouths and creating all sorts of rumors. And I'm not just getting my panties in a bunch because the Flyers were the one to select him. I think this is absolute garbage. I think this is made up nonsense. Are there some things? Yeah, maybe his teammates said it. Sometimes he showed fire in the locker room. He was upset after a loss. I actually think that there's something to that positively. He's 18, playing in a league with pros, older gentlemen, people who have been around the game for a long time, and he's not shying away. He's not satisfied. He wants more. He wants to win. There's hunger. He's not just going to walk around and start pissing on everybody's stall and saying, "You're a piece of shit. You're a piece of garbage. Get out of here. You're a bum. We need to break everybody apart here and go get real winners," and start screaming in people's faces. That's not what's going on here. And the way they're making it seem, literally, quote, "He's a piece of shit." That's not what's going on here. I promise you that is complete trash. 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 So I'm not buying it at all. And I'm aggravated that that's what's being run with. Outside of the Flyers, He doesn't deserve that at all. If he wasn't Russian, is that viewed the same? What if he was a Swede? What if he was an American? What if he was Canadian? And trust me, I've been around Russians my whole life playing the game. I lived with one when I played for Bay State. In my house. 24/7 around the clock. In my house, at the gym, at the rink, on the road, in the hotels, on the bus trips, you name it. I get the personalities, and I get sometimes the judgment of Russians. I think what we're doing here, though, is creating a narrative to create a narrative. Well, why'd he slip? Why'd he fall? How come no one off the ice issues. This isn't off the ice issues. It's a kid being competitive. Let me get this straight. All we want in sports, as outsiders, as fans, and for some people who cover the game, however it is for people to breathe it, love it, be obsessed with it. All within lines, right? You can't go overboard. You can't punch your teammates. You can't pull a Draymond Green, even though bye-bye Jordan Poole, and Draymond Green stays with the Golden State Warriors. So maybe I remove that statement. Maybe I take that part of it back. Maybe it is possible to throw haymakers in practice and set a tone and set a message. But in reality, 99% of the time, you got to play within the lines here. We have someone who's so dedicated, who's so obsessed with winning, and wants to be a Flyer, wants to be in a big market, wanted nothing to do with Arizona, met with the franchise prior, with this family, fell in love with it, and wants to be a part of the change. I don't care what the outsiders think. They want to justify. They want to come up with stuff to make them feel better about what they missed out on. See, I don't work that way. When Cole Caulfield scores 100+ goals, go get the kid. When you draft Cam York, I'm not justifying the pick for Cam York. You missed a golden chance. When you pick Oliver Bonk, I'm not justifying Oliver Bonk over Perreault. Perreault goes to the New York Rangers. Big-time goal scorer. Big-time ability. Played at the National Development Program. There's flaws within their thinking. I don't lie just because they now have acquired Oliver Bonk, even though I think that there's something to his game, and I think he plays a steady, Eddie defensive game that is needed. Might not be filled with Bonk jerseys at the Wells Fargo Center, but someone's got to do the dirty work. Someone's got to get the meat and potatoes. Someone's got to have good gap control in the neutral zone and force the other team to dump it so you can break it out and head out in transition. That stuff is just as important. And yeah, I think he can do that. But I won't make up stories and make up fake things about the other talent surrounding when you drafted for this. That's my take on it. And I get aggravated because the Flyers finally did something right. The Flyers did what they were supposed to do, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. They headed into the NHL All-Star, the MLB All-Star games on tonight, so I apologize. The NHL draft, needing a game changer, needing a weapon, needing something that gets everybody on their toes and excited for Flyers hockey again. You got it last year in Cutter Gauthier, and you now have it in Michkov. Not going to happen overnight, and they won't unfortunately be putting on the jersey anytime soon. We still have a couple of seasons. And I see a ton of value in someone going back to Russia and playing, developing his game against veterans and pros and older guys compared to OHL hockey, compared to major juniors, or even college hockey. 29, 30, 31, big body, grown man's league. I love it. And I'm going to be keeping my eye on it. But I'm grabbing a sense of all this chitter-chatter around, all this and that. Well, did you hear? Did you hear this? Oh, well, hey, Elliot Friedman. Hey, Jeff Merrick. start whispering down the lane. Now, I want to see some of these quotes because, quote tweets, because Spit and Chicklets has been getting crushed for what they were saying. Bill Meltzer says, where is the evidence of any of this? A reputable first-run article by someone with access, quoted sources with first-hand knowledge, coaches speaking on the record. One would think if SKA found him so disruptive, they wouldn't be welcoming him back for the 2023-24 season, yet they are. Now, take it for a grain of salt. We know that Bill Meltzer works for Flyers and works for NHL.com, and also he does have an important connection with the team, so he will lean team friendly, and that's part of this, no doubt, from his angle, but he's absolutely right. He's such a problem child, right? He's so horrible to be around. He treats the locker room like crap. Come on back. Hey, we would love to have you here while you wait out this contract and you wait out these 3 years until you go to Philadelphia. Oh, yeah, please. Let's make this messy. Let's get this very awkward and terrible. Bring your skill level here. It's just, I'm sorry. I'm not buying it. The Habs suggesting they didn't draft Michkov because of character concerns is rich. I'm telling you, this is a Canadian market who are so passionate about their team and lost their marbles so much when the draft went down that the Habs are starting to get some info out there. I truly believe it. However, you look at some of their previous selections. With the Montreal Canadiens development camp coming close to an end, plenty of prospects got the chance to display their talent on the ice. There was a sexual misconduct incident that happened with one of their players, and he's being charged under Swedish law with defamation and offensive photography at 17. His future as an NHLer is still unclear, yet that person is in their camp. Yeah, oh no, we can't be having anybody like Michkov in here. It is hilarious. All right, look. There's so many things happening right now with this Flyers franchise. I keep getting asked, Broads, are they going to trade Tony D? Broads, is he going to Carolina? I don't know. Erik Karlsson, what's Carolina going to do? I keep hearing it's a done deal. They're waiting for certain things, but it's all on Carolina. The Flyers are ready. The Flyers already have the button pushed, and they're just waiting for the other side of it. But if they can go get something better, they can go find a talent like Erik Karlsson, well then, why do you need Tony D? So either it's going to happen soon, or it's not going to happen at all. And I'm recording this show at a very awkward time. So I don't know if by the time this gets selected to be scheduled, where exactly that stands. But here's Elliot Friedman. This was on July 10th, so this was yesterday. I'm recording this super late Tuesday night. Is the Erik Karlsson sweepstakes down to 2 teams? Here is Elliot Friedman.
Any current intel on Erik Karlsson coming off a brilliant season for San Jose last year?
You know what I think is going on there, Stu? I still think it's 2 teams. I think it's Pittsburgh and Carolina. Like I said, Carolina seems to be in the middle of everything right now. I thought people were supposed to be on vacation. The Hurricanes are keeping us all working. Look, I think it's this. I think it's a bit of a poker game. I think that San Jose knows what Carolina's willing to do. I think they know what Pittsburgh's willing to do. I think both those 2 teams know what San Jose is willing to do. And I think right now it's kind of a poker game. See, does anyone move or anyone change, or does anyone's position change? You know, I think this will get done, most likely to one of those 2 teams. I just think it's a situation right now where no one is 100% happy, so we're not there. And I think if we learned anything with the Brinket, somebody has to be willing to move to kind of change the whole pulse and where things stand. And so I think the question is going to be is, you know, who's willing to bend a little bit to get this done.
And think about this. If you're the Carolina Hurricanes, you know the Flyers are desperate to get rid of that Tony DeAngelo deal. You know you want to reshape the entire room right now. So They're not going anywhere. Try your best. Go out and swing for Carlson. Go out and try and get a big dog and get something splashy. And if it doesn't pan out, hey, Danny, ring, 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 yo, Danny, thanks so much for holding on. Where's Tony? Send them back our way. You're in a bind. Your hands are tied behind your back. They know that you want him gone. And the time is on their side. Because the second that call comes in, are you not desperate right now to pick up and say, do it, now, come on. Get the paperwork into the NHL and let's sign this puppy. Well, they're aware. So why not? Why not let this linger? We don't get the benefit from that. And if he goes to Pittsburgh, I guess it's a lose-lose. He goes to Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh gets better. But they're on the downfall, bros. I guess no one really cares about the Penguins like that anyway when you're so far away from them. They finally missed the postseason in a billion years. Whatever. Is that even a rivalry right now? I don't know. But I'm sure Flyers fans are all back on board because of what the message has been from the ups. And with that, we know how this fan base goes, man. They're willing to spend the cash. They want to pack that barn, and they'll be there supporting because it's a cult, and they'll be right back. So it's funny, right? All along, what have they been doing under the previous regime? Oh, we have to put Band-Aids on it to get people in. Well, no one wanted to show up. Now it's going to be crappy hockey, and it'll be fun because they'll work hard, and it's young prospects that you're looking forward with the future with. But it's completely doing the opposite of putting Band-Aids on it, yet I think there'll be a bigger buy-in from the supporting cast and the supporting core and the fan base. So it's just ironic because you know how they viewed it and you know the business aspect and just how they went about. We want Flyers fans to buy tickets and spend money and come to town and be the Flyers fans we know they can be, but you just gave us vomits. Vomit with no blueprint. Now, there's a plan. Might be vomit, but there's a plan. So now it's vomit with a blueprint. And now that's all it takes because that place is going to be packed to the core. I believe so. All right, with that, we're wrapping things up. I love you. You're awesome. You're great. You're phenomenal. I appreciate you all. We'll be talking very soon.